What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others. Hey, hero community. We are looking to feature more amazing social impact heroes on our show, and I'll bet all you listeners out there know a few that deserve to be recognized. If you or anyone you know should be on our radar, then you absolutely have to nominate them to be an iSpark Change social impact hero. Just click the link in the show notes below to help us find out about more people that are doing great things. Welcome back, Impact Heroes. I'm excited to be here for another special episode where I'm not only going to share more about the lessons I've learned along my journey, but I'm going to share the lessons that my team has learned, because my team, Leydi and David, will be joining me for today's episode. You know, part of sharing is because our stories connect us all, and I feel it's my duty to elaborate on what has helped us grow in the hopes that it can help you grow as well. So as I said, I'm extra excited today because you get to meet the team. And these are two people that have helped me a lot over the past year, and I couldn't do what we do without them. They also help with this podcast, so their work seems like it's never done. But they believe in our mission and our purpose. So without further ado, let me introduce social media expert, video editing wizard, and content creator, Leydi Velasquez, and business development specialist, database master, and outreach expert, David McGinness. Leydi and David, welcome to the iSpark Change podcast.
Good to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh,
yeah,
God.
it's great to have you both on the show for the first time. I'm excited about this. We're going to dive into it. But before we start, I want to hear from each of you. I want to hear a little bit about your story, who you are, and how you became a part of the iSpark Change team. So first, a little who you are. So we'll go to you, Leydi. If you could share first who you are.
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everybody. I'm Leydi. I'm from Peru. I just graduated. Well, not just a year ago. I graduated from college. Was I was looking for an internship, and I got a chance to look up and got three options. From those three options, it was really interesting because they had like a really quiet presentation, like really normal businesses where just you would look up and sell product. What I got interested and caught my attention was about iSpark Change was the message, for sure. Like, it resonated a lot with me, and I relate a lot of who I was and with the mission and the message. My passion for sure is just to learn from new experiences. And since I've been with Rick and David working together, I've been just full learning 24/7. I Like I said, I love learning from experiences, so I do travel a lot and kind of get out of my comfort zone, and just learn and growth, like in life, like as a young adult. I just being I'm grateful that I'm learning and growing alongside with Rick and David as well. So I'm really grateful to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing. And I know I remember back to when we had our first interview, and what I mean by interview is me interviewing you to join the team as an intern. And I remember your excitement and everything that you had seen about iSpark Change, and that I could feel already that you had a passion for it, which was really special because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for people that were passionate about it, not just someone that wanted a job, but someone that was going to be really excited and passionate. So Yeah, and that is really evident every day that you do your work, not just not just back then, but it's grown even so much more in the past year plus. So thank you very much, and thank you for sharing everything about you and what we'll dive a little bit more into kind of your background, and obviously you said you're from Peru, but into a little bit more about your background and where you have lived and where you have traveled. We'll dive into that a little bit more. So before we get into that, let's hop over to you, David. So share kind of a little bit about who you are and how you became a part of the iSpark Change team.
Hi, I'm David. I'm from Scotland and I'm just about to graduate university. It was last year I was looking for internships and I ended up chatting to Rick. And something that really jumped out about iSpark Change to me early on was how global it was. They had Leydi in Peru, Rick in Texas, and now me in the UK. I found that really appealing, coupled with a social mission to help other people. That's something I've engaged in quite a lot in terms of charity work and my own personal stuff. So I thought that was something I could really get behind.
Yeah, awesome. And I know when we spoke the first time, David, I remember you sharing how you had done some work in the mental health space at your university and that you were looking to I guess it makes sense that the global aspect appealed to you because you were looking to broaden that. You were looking to help more people and reach more people and be able to have a bigger impact. And you've definitely been able to do that being a part of iSpark Change. So in the mental health space and in different ways. I mean, we've helped a lot of people. We've featured people that work in that space. And I know that is a passion for you. So yeah, we'll continue to do so. So tell me, obviously it hasn't been easy the whole time, right? There's been a lot of work. There's been a lot of ups and downs and everything. What would you say? We'll go to you first this time, David. What do you say has been the most challenging aspect of working on everything?
Probably securing contact with people. There's so much white noise out there in the world today if you're a public figure or a business. So trying to break through that and show people that, this message is worth listening to. We're worth talking to. That's probably the most challenging aspect for me.
Yeah, I agree for sure because as you said, there's so much noise and people are in constant state of distraction and people don't know what your intentions are. So they get thousands of emails, they get hundreds of DMs and messages on LinkedIn or these different platforms, Instagram, where we message people and they think, oh well, they're probably out to sell us something. They're probably out to because they want something. And that's been a challenge. I mean, that's a challenge for me too. Every day is to share with others that look, our intent is to help grow this community. Our intent is to make the world a better place. And we do it by spotlighting others. We do it by giving to others and sharing their work. And sure, we have the podcast or the coaching or different things that we do to help grow iSpark Change, but they're all done through a heart of service. They're all done to help grow and build this community to what it will eventually become. So yeah, I agree that definitely a challenge. How about for you, Leydi? What would you say has been the most challenging aspect of working on everything for the past year plus?
Yeah, I think it's been mostly because from my heart of service, from the for the mission, I've always trying to just my main purpose is helping people with our message, with our motivation content and inspirational content. And of course, when it comes to social media, it's not something you have like secure, like your message is not gonna get to everyone, and the message is not gonna maybe impact as much as impacts you. But I learned something from, I think you said to me this before, about it's not about the people that you don't have an impact, or don't care. Maybe it's about the people you actually have an impact on, and that's what like kind of drives me every day to keep going and post motivational content, because I know that there's someone that is looking at it and is feeling inspired and motivation, getting some motivation from our content.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And you're right. I know I have said that because it wasn't me that came up with that. It was one of my mentors that shared that with me, Danny Bader, who we've actually had on the show in one of the early episodes. But he shared that with me because I was struggling with that at the beginning too. I was struggling with, hey, how can I, there's people that aren't really excited. I'm so excited about what we do and what we work on, and I know you two are all as well. And not everybody's going to share that excitement. It's nobody else's dream, and so they're not going to put the energy behind it that you are. So I do appreciate that both of you put a ton of energy, even though it may not be necessarily your dream or your original dream or vision. But it's true that there are plenty of people out there that will be impacted. And even if, like this episode, this show, for example, even if it touches the lives of one person or 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000, it doesn't matter because it still had an impact. And that's that spark moment that we talk about. That's that ripple effect that goes a long way. I said it again. You can add that to the calculating thing, Lady.
Yep.
You can add it to the number of times
Yep.
I've said
I will.
you can add that. You can add that to that list. But yeah, those impacts you can never measure them really, but they're measured in other ways, and those people know the impact that it had on them. So thank you for sharing that. All right, so now I have another question that is you have to be honest for this one. Okay, we'll go to you first, Lady. You have to be honest on this one. So I asked about the most challenging aspect of working on everything. Okay, most challenging aspect of working on Iceberg Change. Now I want to know what's been the most challenging aspect of working with me. What's been the most challenging aspect of dealing with me?
No comment.
No, you gotta be honest. You said you have to be honest.
Yeah. If I want to be honest, it's like I have, like you said at the beginning, I was so excited like to meet you. Just like I saw every interview of you about you. I read all your articles you published, and I was like, oh my god! I think I even said to you, like I told you, oh my gosh, it feels like I'm looking at a celebrity right now, like after watching all your interviews and everything. And I have such a respect for you and admiration that sometimes when I kind of when I think we talked about this, like I cannot refer to you as Rick because it's like really hard for me. Like I always go like Mr. Nas, hi Mr. Nas. Like and my parents are like, yeah, always with respect because I was raised that way, like always with respect. And I have such a respect for you and admiration. And I'm like I sometimes debate with myself like should I be talking to him like this, and like maybe, and also the language barrier, and it's like, oh, and now that I'm gonna go to Texas and meet you, I'm like, should I go like good morning Mr. Nas every time I see him in his PJs? Like I kind of like always debate myself about with that. I think it's just that I know that sometimes I'm the like maybe like the high maintenance type kind of person that goes like Mr. Nellis, and I know you don't have any problem with me calling you Rick, but yeah, that I think that's the most challenging thing for me, like from my side for sure. Other than that, it's been, I think like every time I talk about work with my friends and like kind of the different aspects of working in Peru and working with someone from the US, they're like, wow, that's a really good teamwork and really good like I don't I they kind of they have such an admiration like for you and all the work we do. It's like amazing for sure.
Well, first off, thank you. And because you make it's very humbling. And I'll just say this is that I'm glad that others recognize it because we're a team. So we're a team, and in a team, everybody's on the same level. So we're all peers, we're all equals. There's no hierarchy here. And so yes, I am Rick. You can call me Rick. You can. I don't push that because I don't know if it's more comfortable for you to call me Mr. No, so I don't push that. But just know that we all garner the same respect, right? We all garner the same respect, and hopefully I show you all that. And that's always my part of my purpose with everyone I come into contact is that, hey, we're all equals. We're all children of God. There's no levels. And the more I interact, the more I have guests on the show, or the more I meet people that are, quote unquote celebrities, or have big followings or big communities or anything, I realize, especially, just when I was in New York City last week, and some people that are, very highly successful people, big businesses, and big communities and successful shows and all these things, is that they're people just like you and I, as one of my mentors says, everybody poops, right? We're all the same. We're all the same, or as another friend of mine used to say, we all put our pants on the same way. And so we're all just individuals, and just remember that always, is that this is a team effort for all of us in growing iSpark Change. And part of the reason of growing the community is that it takes everybody doing their part. And if we're going to get to 1 billion people in 5 years in this community, then that's going to take a lot of people participating, not me, not just you or, David or us, but a lot of us. Oh, you got your kitty there, but
Yeah,
all of
my
us,
kitty
but all of
Sorry.
us working together. So thank you for that. All right, David, how about you? What's been the biggest challenge of working with yours truly?
The time zone.
Oh my gosh.
No, really, I've been racking my brain for like the last 10 minutes, and I don't recall a single unpleasant moment. It's been very interesting work, and I've always enjoyed our weekly phone calls. Yeah, really just the time zone, and maybe, I don't know, maybe we run into an issue every now and again with colloquialisms, British and American English. That's it, really. No, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, yeah, thank you. Because I know, like, when we had the Level Up Your Life challenge that was at 7 p.m. Central Time, and it was like 1 or 2 in the morning your time, and it's like, well, David, if you want to hop on for a few minutes, no pressure. But yeah, that time thing, it is an issue. And the more I connect with
I
people
don't
all
know.
over the world, the more I have to deal with it. I have to deal with it on these calls, and it can be challenging. But if that's the worst thing, then I'll take it. I'll take it if that's the worst thing that we have. Yeah, thank you. Very, very cool. All right, so let's spin it the other direction. So we'll go back to you, David. Now we'll keep flip flopping the order, but let's go back to you. Let's go with, what have you enjoyed the most in the time that you've been working on everything with iSpark Change?
Definitely the different people that I've been meeting. Just as part of my job, I've had to speak to quite a lot of people, and I've spoken to professors and people that have sort of overcome incredible challenges in their lives, motivators, very successful business people. I mean, I've really enjoyed that aspect of talking to all kinds of different people and just getting their spin on life, really. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you 100%. For me, that's been, since I've been on this journey, that's probably the thing I've enjoyed the most, is connecting with so many different people. I mean, hundreds of people in the past couple of years for myself. Either people that, I was on their show, or people that I met in different communities, or people that I'm coaching, or people at events, or any of those things from all across the globe, like you, and different levels of success, different areas that they work in, all the things that you were describing. And what's been really gratifying is the commonality that they all have in wanting to help others, wanting to make the world a better place, wanting to level up, wanting to serve others. And I think that's what makes it most rewarding, at least for me, is, not only to hear their stories and everything, which is really cool, but once you learn about them, you learn that, hey, they're doing good in the world. They're giving rather than taking. Would you agree that you've seen that?
Yeah, definitely. All different kinds of people, and some really incredible missions going on. Yeah, no, I mean, I look forward to it. I look forward to continuing for a long time, and meeting more. It's incredible.
Yeah, thank you. How about you, lady? What's been the biggest thing you've enjoyed the most?
I think it's just the first thing that pops on my mind is the opportunity to share and kind of. I know that I'm not talking to someone exactly saying like telling them like you can do it, you're doing your best. It's part of the journey, but it feels like I have the opportunity to have a platform to kind of say that to people, and I think it just it it means a lot to me because I wish I had that. Like I wish I had that before. I've always struggled like as a teenager and with mental health, and it's really interesting how literally our stories connect us all. Because I needed that. I needed positivity in my life, and I think by doing all the work I do, I know that I'm helping people, but as well I'm helping myself, like for like having all the positivity around me and all the quotes and and just having this like the amazing team and talking to people as well, like you sharing all the positive um all the positive quotes. Like my mom always said, like a big smile, a positive mind, and I'm always grateful to have that platform.
Yeah, thank you. I agree as well because I mean, it's very easy to agree with you guys because we're all working together on the same goal, but in the same cause. But it's interesting because the more we work on this, the more we share motivation or inspiration or this podcast. We do it for the benefit of others. We do it to help inspire them, help motivate them, help them grow and in different ways and inspire them. And what happens is that we get a ton of the rewards from doing it by virtue of giving. You receive, and we don't do it for any selfish reasons, but that just happens naturally. That's just the universe, God giving back to us, that we get the rewards. We get the benefits of giving, giving and serving others. And that's part of why, that's part of my purpose is, to love and give and serve. It's right here on my bracelet, love and give and serve is. Yep. And since I've been doing that for, the past few years of my life, my life's been incredible. The more you give, the more you receive. And again, you give without any expectation of reward or any expectation of anything in return. And you just naturally are just so fulfilled and so loved, and it's a great place to be. So I'm glad that you feel that as well. So let's shift a little bit. Let's dive into. I have two questions, that I want to hear your opinion on. But before we get to that, I want people to know more about you. So share something. Lady, you can go first. Share something that is people don't really know about you, but something you enjoy or hobby or anything that will help them to know you a little better.
Well, I do. Like I said, I love new experiences. I love learning from experiences, and I've traveled quite a lot. My mom, it's always scary every time I hop in a plane, but I have traveled, and um, so I think it was the first time by like traveling by my own. I traveled like at 18 to the States to work for the first time ever. I worked in a resort, and it was quite a like cultural shock, but in a good way. I learned a lot from culture in the US. It's just it's amazing. I tend to get out of my comfort zone, and just a couple months ago I went to Panama to live in the middle of the jungle, just literally in the middle of the jungle. My dad was like, "Oh, you can go buy some things if you need to," and I'm like, "Yeah, that I'll go buy some things." And I was like, I couldn't even explain to him like I was literally in the middle of the jungle. That's the most like, from my point of view, it's like the most amazing thing I could do, like while I'm young, just learn from new experiences, kind of get out of my comfort zone as much as I can. For sure, it's really it's really hard sometimes, when you kind of need to make those decisions that you know that are good for you, but you're kind of scared of. But that's how I learn from life. I guess my family is really close mind about life itself, like really old fashioned. And what I'm proud of what I'm most proud of myself is just I get to learn from amazing people, amazing experiences, and I pass down that to my younger sisters, and they want now, like while growing up, it was such a pain, yeah, to learn English. Now I'm just so grateful to have learned English, and they are so excited to learn English every month, when they go to the academy. But yeah, I am really proud of being able to pass on to my sisters, and just they are so excited about life. Oh, it's scary. I always tell them it's scary out there, but you know, it's like it's so exciting as well that you gotta enjoy it. The good and the bad. It's part of life, and that's why it's exciting, I guess.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a couple of things that are important for people to understand is that there's going to be good and bad, and growth will happen with both on both sides, and oftentimes more growth happens from the bad than the good, and then the other thing is that you have to get outside that comfort zone. You have to get outside that comfort zone because the growth isn't going to happen. It's like a muscle. If you go like this with your bicep with no weight, then it's not going to grow. But if you hold a weight and you put it under resistance and challenge it and make it uncomfortable, then that's where the growth is going to happen. And so I applaud you for doing that. And if you hadn't done that, then you may not be on this team right now. You may not have
Yep.
have found iSpark Change and been on the team. So yeah, all part of your journey. Awesome. Well, how about you, David?
Something you might not know about me. I've lived all over the country, in the UK, and I used to live in France. I speak French, so I suppose for me personally, there's a bit of an element I feel like a bit of an outsider, I suppose. But the flip side of that is it makes me very curious, and I'm always very keen to meet new people and sort of get into a new community sort of thing. And I think that's a big part of what iSpark Change is about, really. It's about sort of helping different groups, businesses, communities to achieve what they want to and help spread it. So I think it is quite relevant to what I've done and what we do.
Yeah, you're right. It is. So how long did you live in France?
5 years.
Oh, so you do speak French.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's never come up before, but yeah.
How did we not know this? I took French for how many years? 3 years. It was a million years ago, but I took French for 3 years, and we had French exchange students for a decade. So yeah, I'm
Wow.
very familiar with the French culture.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. Very different from Britain and America, I imagine.
Oh yeah, yes. Oh yeah, it's one thing we noticed with our exchange students. Very different whenever they would come. Very, very different, but fun. But definitely fun for sure. All right. Well, I have a question that kind of a two-part question. Okay, on the podcast, I always ask guests. I ask them to talk about a spark moment in their life, to talk about a spark moment where either someone impacted them that kind of changed the trajectory of their life, or where they did something that impacted another person. So I do want to touch on what's been a spark moment for you. And if it's been in the past year, great. If it's been 10 years ago, great. So you shared, David, what's been a spark moment for you?
The number one thing that jumps to mind was when the pandemic started, and I ended up volunteering to be an unpaid carer for my grandma who had late stage dementia. And I couldn't really tell you what motivated me to do that. I barely remember making the decision, but that was definitely a big turning point in my life that I think was to the benefit of someone else. And yeah, that's the one that jumps out.
Yeah, and I remember when you first started with us and you were doing that, and it I could tell it was very challenging for you. I mean, you were studying, you were in school, and you had your exams and everything, and yet you were still taking care of your grandmother. And I don't know many, you know, 21, 22-year olds that would do something like that. So that's a testament to who you are and to your character. And as you said, I know you may not know why you did it, but years from now, you'll look back and you'll realize how beneficial that was for both you and your grandmother.
Well, thanks very much, Rick. It was definitely an experience. I do remember some challenging moments with you on the phone, but yeah,
Yeah,
no, it was good.
yes. Yeah, I do. Hey, but we understood every time. I mean, it was never a big deal for us. So, all right, how about you?
Um, well, I think this is literally the reason why we're talking because um, so this happened during the pandemic as well, and I was training to go to a competition, to a riding horse competition because we have horses where out of the city, and I was closing a deal with an internship program to go have to do an internship in Canada, and I was really excited, and but I was overwhelmed by all. I think it was finals during that week, and I was so overwhelmed. My mom told me that the trainer got to where we lived, and I needed to go practice, and I'm like, Mom, like I'm so overwhelmed. I can't. I don't want to do it. And my mom kind of like, okay, but you gotta do it. Let's go. And the competition is it's getting close, and I'm like, okay, Mom, I'll go. And that day, I I fell off the horse, and I lost my memory. I don't remember as I think they asked me what year was what was COVID, and I didn't remember. I didn't know, and it was really shocking after kind of react like my brain kind of um like reacted later, and I was really shocking. But all my plans shut it down. I had my money set to go to Canada, and I will after getting feeling better. I went to a trip in Cusco. I felt really good, but after feeling better, I felt relentless. I was like, I am a survivor. I can do whatever, I propose, and I can do whatever I want. And in the middle of the pandemic, I booked a trip to go to Colorado and in Las Vegas. It was a 2 week trip. It was supposed to be a 2 week trip, and I ended up going back to going back to Vermont, where is where I used to where I first went to do my first job to work there, and I ended up living there. I made a decision to move there, and I think that was a huge moment for me. Like I remember really feeling really like hopeless after my accident, and it literally changed my life. I didn't know how much impact it was gonna cause on my life, and but because of the accident, I made the decision um to move to Vermont, and uh, feeling powerful, and just feeling that I can do whatever I can. I proposed to, and I got to work with Rick, and it was well. Oh, I said Rick. I just said Rick. That was really first step, a good first step. But yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge on my life, for sure, and one of I think one of the really um uh, like how do you say that, like majestic moment that happened so I could be here.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you both of you because those are those spark moments. Those are those things that you don't think about until later when it's happening. You don't really realize it, and then later you look back and you're like, that changed the trajectory of my life or completely had an impact that will affect me for years to come, if not for the rest of my life. And I think it's important for our listeners to hear those, not just from you, but from one another, because as I said at the top of the show, and I say every show, is that our stories connect us. And that's the foundation of, building relationships, are sharing what we're all about and what makes us who we are. So thank you for sharing that, because I know the listeners will want to know more about who you guys really are, and where you come from, and how you got here. So as we come towards the end of our special episode today, we have to talk about the future of iSpark Change, because it's not just me that's building that future, it's both of you. And our goal, everyone has heard this before, that our goal at iSpark Change is to positively impact 1 billion people in the next 5 years through our community, through our work, and that we're counting on the listeners, we're counting on the people out there to help us in growing iSpark Change, and to make that beautiful community that will support one another. So I want to hear from both of you, and we'll go to you, David, first. I want to hear from both of you is, what do you see for the future of iSpark Change?
Global connection. I mean, definitely. I mean, who knows the scale or the time frame to get to that scale, but I think it's definitely going to be global. Greatly facilitated by digital technology. We're already kind of global. We've got a lot of viewers in India that follow our stuff, and currently we're in 3 different countries, I believe, at the moment. So we're already global, and I look forward to seeing a much larger map in the recent future.
Yeah, great. Me too. And I know, yes, you are right. We look at our analytics from the social media and the podcast, and it's India and South America and all of different states, and in the US, and then UK, and then also Australia. And so we continue to grow, and Canada, and we will continue to grow globally. And what do you see as the future for iSpark Change, Leydi?
I think for sure connecting with more people, connecting with and sharing, all of us, the mission and the message we want the people to shout out. uh I keep picturing this huge following, not just because of the content, just because we share the same mission and we want to shout out the message of, we all can make a difference. We all are there for each other. Yeah, the life is hard, but we are we are all here dealing with whatever we're dealing with, and we got each other. I want all of us to shout out um, that, and just keep spreading the mission, and all of us to feel hopeful about the future, and just have a positive mind everywhere, like every day.
Yeah, thank you. And that's what really started me on this journey, was to because I wanted to have an impact and make the world better, and I knew there was lots of others that were kind of suffering, and they were looking to do the same. And so the more we connect with them, the more the community is going to grow, and we'll get to our goal of 1 billion people. So, well, Leydi and David, thank you for sharing, yourselves with our listeners. Thank you for sharing your heart with iSpark Change, and for being a part of the purpose. And thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you, Rick. Pleasure to be here. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been awesome having you both on the show. Thank you for sharing your time, your heart, your wisdom. And as I said already a couple times, hope these stories resonated with you, Leydi's story and David's story. We'd love to hear more from you in the community about your stories. And Leydi and David, I know this wasn't a social impact hero episode, but I'll throw you two in that category as being social impact heroes, because of the work that you do at iSpark Change. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Rick. Been a pleasure.
Oops. All right, Impact Heroes, thank you for taking time to let us share our heart with you. We hope you enjoyed this special episode of the iSpark Change team, and we'll see you next time on the iSpark Change podcast. Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the iSpark Change podcast.